Well, well, well. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. As promised, Gregg Henson is sitting there. 3G. Garrett is here. I am here. How are you, pal?
Good. Where's all your fancy production, brother?
Dude, I'm literally in a bedroom right now. I'm going to build a studio in one of the garages here. I've already
Oh,
got it slated to do, but it's remarkable how much. Like, I got an estimate the other day. Like, throw some carpet in. It's already plumbed for a bathroom, so it's like, all right, let's throw a toilet and a sink in here, and a couple TVs and some lights and cameras. Throw them up on the wall. $54,000.
shut up.
I'm like, are you fucking kidding me?
Are
50,
you going to
like,
do it yourself now?
I don't know. I'm obviously not laying carpet and shit like that, but it's like, and $54,000 means $74,000 because there's
Well,
no way.
didn't you make
Uh,
like 7.3 million off your house in Detroit?
yeah, right. Yeah, I didn't make shit on my house in Detroit, but
No.
no,
It
and it
sucks
all
though.
went into this anyway, so that money's gone anyways.
Yeah,
Anything I made is just dumped right back into here. So
that's what happened with me. I got this huge basement and I got to finish it myself because I don't have the money to pay some guy to do that.
Well, I just look at it. I was talking to G about it because it's a nice area we're in, right? I mean, I was able to combine whatever I had with G, and G does well. G being my brother,
Mhm.
and so it's a nice area. Like it's great, but it's like I lived in Berkeley in 852 square feet. I lived in a townhouse in Royal Oak. I've lived in Livonia. I've lived in places that are just modest, nothing, and it's like if someone came over and I had my garage and wanted to convert it to a studio in Livonia or in Berkeley or at, some small 1,000 square foot apartment in Royal Oak, no one would even offend you by going, oh, yeah, it's going to be 60 grand. Like
Yeah,
they
right.
wouldn't even buy, like, is that what I'm dealing with? Like people go,
Probably.
oh, you're in a decent, like, I know that people in Franklin used to talk, oh, you're at Franklin tax.
Yep.
And, you had to be aware of that. Like, oh, they're going to come here and assume you have a bunch of money and, it's no object. So we're going to rape you when it comes to cost of things. But it's like, no one would even try that when I was in my fucking tiny house in Berkeley,
No, no.
you know? So
But
I don't know if,
you got to find you got to find somebody who just wants some side work.
yeah,
It's be that much money.
dude, in Michigan, with the tiniest of a platform, I could just go, hey man, I need a painter, an electrician, I need whatever. And dude, my email would blow up from
Right.
people just like, oh yeah, dude, my guy Bill's fucking awesome. He'll be over there tomorrow. And they'd come and they were happy to do it. And there were people that donated their fucking time, and there were other people that charged me. They weren't trying to rip me off. They were just cool about it. I don't have that here at all. And so it's literally like, okay, I guess I'm going on and I'm Googling, you know, studio people, because,
I know.
huh?
So
Yeah, it's
it'd be
tough.
cheaper
So,
for you to fly somebody out there.
yeah. Well, the plan was to bring Travis out here to set the studio up, and he'll do it for the price of a plane ticket, and come out and spend a day, putting lights up, putting the table up, putting the mics together. Like, so that was kind of the planner. But it's like before I bring him out here to do that, it's like I need some carpet down. I need some, they need to put an AC unit in there. They need to put a door, instead of just the garage door. Like there's a few things that need to be done. And it's like, oh yeah, $54,000. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah,
No,
really. What a joke.
no, not happening.
Guy work
So
for Kamala?
what's that? Yeah, right. Exactly. Anyways, I'm glad you're here, Greg. I know you pay a lot of attention. It's the problem that I see in most people is they don't want to pay attention or they don't pay much attention. And the media uses that as a way to fool people into thinking one way.
Right.
And so I wanted to talk to you today. And, I know you were going to be watching the debate. I know Garrett watched it. I watched it. What were your initial thoughts? And then we can kind of get into the meat and potatoes of it. Also wanted to talk a little bit about Tyreek Hill later, maybe get into Dave Grohl, whatever. But
Okay.
yeah, that's kind of, I figured we'd start with the debate, see what you thought.
Overall, I thought it was boring. I don't think any minds were changed, but I was really annoyed by the way ABC put their thumb on the scale. And
Yeah.
and I was listening to Ben Shapiro today, and apparently the boss at ABC is the person who introduced Kamala Harris to her husband.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, wow, that makes a lot of sense. I first knew something was up when they left her mic on early in the debate.
Yeah. I noticed that. I didn't have a problem with that, but I know, people don't know that Dana Bash's former husband, Jeremy Bash, is one of the 51 intelligence officers that said the Hunter Biden laptop was Russian disinformation. If you're wondering where these people align, it doesn't, obviously you disagree with your wife on a lot of things politically, so it doesn't necessarily mean something, but when these things all go in the same direction, it lays out a pattern that we see time and time again. So, when you're talking about the president of ABC, is best friends with Kamala Harris, from what I understand, and introduced Doug, and I can't remember. Do you remember the reason Doug's first marriage broke up? I can't remember why he was available.
He banged the babysitter, didn't he?
Oh yeah, and then he came in and had and they, I think, aborted the kid. They don't talk about that. Yeah. But he busted a nut in the babysitter of his school kids, his daughter. Right. He fucked her, came in her. She got knocked up. Oh, crazy. Yeah. The cool thing about that, though, it was a real learn.
We know how it works.
Yeah. Not everybody seems to know how it works. Right. The cool thing about that is they've come out now and said how that strengthened their relationship going forward, which is great for, I'd love them to go into more detail about that, about how that event helped strengthen their relationship, because it could be really helpful to the rest of the country.
Right. We should all do it after we cheat.
Yeah.
Dave Grohl should do it.
Right. Now that we know, that can strengthen your relationship and stuff. But that's if you were wondering why he was available and she was available. That was the story there. These moderators do a very good job of trying to make it look like they're playing right down the middle. We're just playing it down the middle. They speak in a certain tone. It's almost gaslighty in the tone they have.
Right.
But it is really disgusting. There were some, really important things that needed to be brought up for a country that's trying to be introduced to Kamala Harris. It's not about the color of her skin or what she's got between her legs. It's not about, her being a brat or her being a girl boss. Like, that shit shouldn't matter at this level. And they have a duty to, play it down the middle, and they did anything but last night.
I know. That was the only part that annoyed me. I think the problem is, I think it actually threw Trump off, because that combined with him having a propensity to go down that rabbit hole whenever he gets pissed.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me, because I know what to expect from Trump. That's why I don't think it matters. I think we all know what to expect from Trump. And I don't think she did any great shakes last night either, or helped herself at all either.
No. I agree with that. It's tough to watch, when you see it play out. I wish he wouldn't fucking take the bait. I'm offended as a viewer, as an American citizen, at all the panelists afterwards are bragging about how, she set the trap and he took the bait every time. And it's like, this isn't a fucking game, guys.
Right.
This isn't a fucking game. Like, this idea that she wins because she needles him about she's going to make some bullshit statement about, look at the people at his rallies. Yeah, I have looked at the people at his rallies. They're 50,000 plus strong every time.
Right.
You can't say that. The debate ends there. So this idea of, people are walking out, yawning, bored, knowing that that's just meant to piss him off. I wish he could ignore that shit. He can't. It's a personality flaw. Because
she's like your bitchy wife, and you're not going to let her win.
Yep. Yeah.
Seriously. And then she puts her. I had a lot different view too. Putting her hand on her chin like this, and the goofy face stuff. You saw some of the early polls out are showing there was no movement at all from last night. I went to bed last night pissed off at the media, pissed off, and then I woke up this morning and I thought about it and I went, hold on a minute.
It didn't matter.
Minds were changed last night. She lied her tits off last night. No one said a word. They let her get away with the hoax bullshit again. They let her everything. I mean, then CNN said he lied 33 times. She lied once. And I'm like, she lied 30 times in one sentence at one point.
Yeah.
And then
what are they banking on there, Greg? Are they banking on like, I don't care, my side, they claim one, that's good enough for me? Do people even give a shit? Like the hoaxes she was spilling last night about very fine people, bloodbath, he wants to ban abortion, Project 2025 is the boogeyman. Like all those things are so easily provable as bullshit.
No one cares.
She brought up 2025 after he told her that's nothing to do with my policy, and it was put out by an independent group. She still kept bringing it up.
Yeah,
and
no one fact checked her. Those fucking guys didn't fact check her. And the goal is they've already branded him as a liar because for 6-7 years all they do is say he lies.
Yeah,
and I'm thinking to myself, you realize you're lying more than anyone, and so they've already branded him as a liar. So she gets up there, and before she starts the debate, she says, you're going to hear a bunch of lies.
Yeah.
So the low information voters, the people who want her to win, Taylor Swift and her soy boy boyfriend, heard how they wanted to hear it. So that's what I'm saying. No minds were changed because they just did the same. She did the same old tired playbook. She did the "you're a liar. Here's all the hoaxes that have been debunked," and I just want to move forward. But she was on the attack all night. She looked like a bitch. And I don't think it'll move the needle at all. I think they're both fairly unlikable people. Although Trump has results to show, for it. But I don't know when I've disliked a politician more than her. It's probably Hillary.
Yeah.
She was just not likable.
No, not at all. Not at all. And the funny thing is, you can go back to the Drew and Mike show days or Greg and Jamie. And we were saying the same shit 30 years ago, 25 years ago about Hillary Clinton. And it didn't bother anybody. It was just like, this is what it is. It's not a right-left thing. It's that thing. Whatever she is completely robotic, programmed, unlikable. Her voice is irritating. She's not believable on any level. Like that, this isn't new. Fairly
unaccomplished.
Yeah. I don't have a problem. Like I understand the people that are deep dive into the politics. So the people that support Trump or Obama or Bill Clinton, anybody historically, they're going to have their spin on things. It's easy to take statistical numbers and twist them in your favor somehow.
Right.
And we all know that. It's kind of gross, but we all expect it. We expect that they're going to go, well, crime is down. And then they're referencing some bullshit thing that takes this out of the way and takes that out of the way, doesn't include this. And by that measure, we can comfortably kind of spin this in our favor. I don't have a problem with that. I assume they're all doing it. They've all done it. They're going to twist things in their favor. But when someone comes out and says, he claims that if the election doesn't go his way, it's going to be a bloodbath. And nobody fact checks that from that panel and goes, that's not at all what was said. That's not what it all was said. That's dangerous. That right there is meant to fearmonger people into thinking, oh, what the story is there is if he doesn't win, he's calling on his people to riot in the streets.
Right.
Is essentially what that means. That you have a civil war in the country. That's a flat fucking lie is what that is.
And she knows it's a lie. She knows.
Yes.
And
very fine people at Charlottesville. Like that has been debunked by everybody from fucking name the analyst. It was debunked by Jake Tapper at CNN for fuck's sakes.
Snopes did it.
Snopes, even as liberal bias bullshit as they are. My favorite from Snopes was, did Joe Biden shit his pants at the Vatican? And their conclusion was false because rumor isn't fact.
Right.
That's how that works. So we're not going to look into it all, but that's a rumor that he shit his pants at the Vatican in front of the Pope.
Right.
Don't look into why he had a change of suit halfway through the day at the Vatican. Never mind that. No, we'll just say it's rumor, so that's not fact, so we deem it false. That's what you're dealing with there. And even they had to come out and go, very fine people is nonsense, bullshit.
Yeah, right.
But how are ABC moderators able to get away with that?
Because their bosses wanted it that way. They don't care. The whole goal here, it really did seem like a orchestrated hit on Trump, in the sense that they geared the moderators to stick it to him. The whole thing though is so dishonest and so gross that I think people saw through it. The only people, I mean, and the other question is, if they want to spin it so badly that he won or she won, why is she looking at a second debate? She should just run away like she's been doing. The media's letting her do it, so why bother?
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
To me, the debate, it is the same thing every time, right? Which is it's the economy, stupid. Like, that's what matters. I was surprised when they came out the gate and went, is your life better now than it was 4 years ago? And her answer on that was, I come from a middle-class family. Trump led us into a mess. Project 2025. And it's
nobody answers. Nobody challenged her on it.
That should have ended the debate, right? They should have said, thank you, good night, everybody. That's all you need to know.
She didn't answer one question, not one. And even when Trump tried to press her on it, they didn't make her answer the question. And if you're not going to make her answer the question, she's going to run for the hills. It's what she's been doing. Oh my God, I'm looking at a Google ad right now for Trump's Project 2025. I swear to God, they just paid for by Harris for President.
Yeah. Isn't this common, by the way, these PACs come out with these grandiose ideas every 4 years that they put out?
Yes.
Yeah.
Heritage Foundation does it every 4 years.
Yeah. Heritage Foundation, who put this together.
Yeah.
Do you think that's sticking with people? Because obviously that is meant to scare the shit out of people. He's going to come in and make abortion illegal. Like, no, he's not. He's never said that, never hinted at that, never winked at that. No, never. It doesn't.
And he said last night flat out, I'm not, the abortion's never going to be illegal nationwide. And it doesn't. His answer on abortion was brilliant too.
Yeah, I thought it was too.
I did the best thing for the country. I shot it back to the states where it belongs. It's not the Constitution. It's not a federal issue.
Yep.
And he shot it back to him, and it was a great answer. But then they allowed her once again to push the fact that he was trying to get a national ban. Then they came up with this Trump tax or whatever because he wants tariffs. And I'm thinking, people, if you slap tariffs on a foreign vehicle, people will stop buying them. They'll go buy the cheaper car. They're not going to spend more money to get the Japanese car, or not the Japanese car,
Chinese.
the cars made in Mexico that are going to be sent up here. They're not going to spend more money. They'll just go buy the cheaper version, which now will be American cars, which is the same way it's worked for years. Toyota and those guys were sending cars over here cheap without union labor. People were paying cheap for the cheaper cars. That's how that works. It's idiotic.
The other thing in bringing up Project 2025 over and over and getting no fact check from moderators is gross to me, because what that says is, I don't have a plan that I can lay out for you. I don't have an actual vision for the country, but you got to vote for me anyways, because this guy might do something. This guy's going to do something so radical like Project 2025.
Yeah.
Like, that's, I don't know if people see it that way. But I have so much more respect. Like, to me, it's like, it's the dishonesty of it that drives me so nuts. Not a single question about the First Amendment.
Yeah.
Not a single question about the Second Amendment. These are legitimate things. Like, do you have the video there, Garrett, of Tim Walz? Like, this to me is a question that should be asked of one of these candidates.
I think we need to push back on this. There's no guarantee to free speech on misinformation or hate speech, and especially around our democracy.
That to me is a terrifying fucking statement.
Number one, free speech is absolute. And number two, I can hate you as much as I want.
Yeah.
I can hate you as long as I don't come down there and beat your ass and shoot you with the.
So that's not covered under free speech, First Amendment protections, Greg. You can't go punch someone in the face that you don't like.
No, that's not how it works.
Yeah. People get this wrong. We've talked about it before, and I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but the First Amendment is very, very specific in what it does. And the mistake people make is thinking that the First Amendment grants you something. The First Amendment doesn't grant you free speech. The First Amendment simply recognizes your birthright, your natural right, your God-given right, if you will, to free speech. And that Congress shall make no law about that. I can't remember the exact sentence, but that's what it does. It recognizes that you as a human being have the right to free speech. It doesn't say, except in the case of someone who lies, except in the case of someone who says something we really mean. Well, okay, define that for me, please. Well, no, we can't define it because one person's hate speech, like saying "God damn it," is blasphemous to someone that's uber religious.
Right.
That would be considered hate speech. Okay, do you want to ban that? No, just because you have a problem with it doesn't mean we get to eliminate free speech for you. And the problem is what the media won't tell you, what they sidestep is Tim Walz went on national television and said that. Kamala Harris has said similar stuff. It's not easy to find the videos. Barack Obama is eking into that territory as well. And that's dangerous as shit. These people are here for a blip in time. They don't get to change the fucking Constitution.
No, I know. But that's been the whole goal all along is, whenever they can't win at the ballot box, they want to change the rules. That happens all the time. That's why they want to, that's why the very worst that the Republicans can do is they need to get one of the houses because you can't let them have both. They will add Puerto Rico. They will add Washington, D.C., take permanent control of the Senate, and then they'll get rid of the filibuster. They'll do everything they say they'll do. Right. And that includes stacking the court because they lost. That last night when she said he stacked the court, well, that's what he does as president. He nominates them.
Yeah.
That's his job. So what's the problem? You don't change the rules because you lost.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they want to. They want to eliminate the Electoral College.
Yeah, they do.
Just for the
so
popular
that New York
vote.
And California can pick the president.
Yeah, and people don't understand. It's like, well, it sounds good in paper. The popular vote. Oh wow, they won more, so they should. Like by that logic, if 51% of the population wanted slavery back, you go, well, it's the popular vote. It's the will of the people.
Yep.
Right.
No, that's not how it works. The Electoral College is very specific. It's brilliant in nature.
It really is.
I mean, it thinks of all of those things, understanding that, no, you would make it so there's no point in campaigning in Middle America, period, none. You go to L.A., you go to fucking New York City, you go to Chicago. That's where you campaign. That's where you have masses of people, these giant swaths of millions of people, and they get to decide everything for the country.
Kind of weird that you mentioned those three cities in particular, because those are probably the only cities Kamala's visited so far.
Right.
Yeah.
But we've raised a generation of idiots. Like this, the millennials and younger have no clue how it works. And I mean, a lot of them would give up the Constitution. They all think it's problematic. Yeah. I mean, you've heard some of them say it. Listen to that dummy AOC. She thinks the Constitution is problematic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not for her to decide.
But you know what? You get what you vote for. I always love the line. I don't know who said it first, but you can vote in socialism, but you got to shoot your way out. Yeah. And that's what's going to happen here. But you know what? Whatever. I'm fearful for what my kids will face down the road as white men, because that's who they are. Yeah. And you're already seeing that it's open season. It's just not good. And and if they don't vote the right way, that's their problem. Because you and I will be long dead and gone before anything major happens. But you just hate to see the trend line.
Yeah, it's not good. And people don't know their history. People don't know that, people like Stalin and Pol Pot and Hitler. And Mao, those are people that took guns away from their population. And
they only killed millions, dude. Relax.
Right. And our forefathers understood that. You know, I've got.
But they were white.
Yeah, they were evil and white. Yeah. Kamala Harris, you know, and this is where I think it's an injustice too, has flirted with the idea of mandatory gun buybacks. And I'm looking at, I can't remember who this was. I guess it was, their ruling was this is mostly false. Well, Kamala Harris, as a 2019 presidential candidate, said, I support a mandatory gun buyback program for assault weapons. We found no examples that she supports mandatory gun confiscation now. And the majority of guns sold in the U.S. are handguns. So it's even hard to find the video of her saying that.
I heard it last night, but here's the problem. It's not up to you what gun I own.
Yeah.
That's constitutionally protected. If I want to have an automatic weapon for protection, then I'm going to have an automatic weapon for protection. Yeah. It's none of their business. It really isn't. You know, stay out of my home, you know, on abortion, but not on guns, right?
Right. Right.
Don't come in my house. Leave it. It's my house. What I do in my bedroom's my business. Okay. What I do in my basement with my guns is my business.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. And I could get into some of the statistics too. And I love the argument because I've had this argument with people when they go, what are you going to do? Take on the U.S. military?
It's no.
Yes.
Maybe. Fucking maybe.
Maybe, you know, maybe 100 million of us may have to.
Yeah.
But don't think for a minute the U.S. military wouldn't flip and join the people.
Oh, 100%. I was going to say all the people I knew through my military time and the people I kept with who are still super pro-military guys, they do not like the federal government.
No.
They're
wait, you were in the
bunch.
military?
Very briefly.
For like a week.
I was in the Navy.
They found out you were gay?
Yep, pretty much.
Yeah.
He's in the showers all day. We can't get him out.
Here's the problem he made. He asked and he told.
Yep, that's the problem. It was the Navy. I thought I was safe.
Dude, get this. He's out of the military for literally the gayest reason ever.
Oh yeah,
what'd you do?
I fucking broke my wrist on a 10 count.
On a what?
A push-up, like a drop push-up.
Does that sound like the most limp-wristed thing you've ever heard? I snapped my wrist doing push-ups.
I love it. The Navy of all things.
You know, when people say that, though, about what are you going to do? Take on the military with their F-16s and their drones and their tanks? And it's like, I don't know. How did the Taliban do against the fucking Russian military?
Yeah.
Right.
Like, yeah, they held their own. And 20 years later, Russia went fucking bankrupt for it.
And how about,
the U.S. military tried to take them on, too, and didn't do very well.
And how about when we took this country from England?
Yeah.
They had all the cannons.
Yeah.
You know, we sat trees and picked them off one by one. That's how it worked.
And people do underestimate the common population. I know a dude in Oklahoma with a 30-millimeter aircraft cannon.
Oh, sweet.
Like, we can get a hold of stuff. Don't worry about it.
Right. We got it. But, I don't like all that talk. I think, because I think, God, I hate to use her line, but this country is not as divided as you think. You know who's divided? Men and women. That's your problem, because white liberal women are a problem. They just are. They hate everything that's not in agreement with them. All over, you can see all over social media, they're like, white men are so triggered about Kendrick Lamar doing halftime. And I'm like, no, we're not. We don't give a shit. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
But they just automatically assign this shit, and it's a problem. It's just that's where your divide is.
Yeah. Yeah. It's boy, oh boy, I want to say so much right now, and I don't dare. Because I have to live comfortably where I am, but I it's, you just kind of grin and go, yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah,
that's cute. I'm glad you feel safe enough to fucking say any irrational garbage that comes to your fucking mind and vocalize it at any time. I feel like being the bigger man a lot with that. Like, yeah, okay, yep.
But you know what? That doesn't work with that crowd, because they just keep pushing and pushing till you tell them to fucking shut up.
Yeah.
Oh, the definition for a millennial white woman of being a strong woman is just having a big mouth.
Yeah.
It's not about reason. It's not about compromise. I'm just going to scream over you because I'm a strong, powerful woman.
Yeah. The amount of them that I see on Facebook wherever, just go yammering on and on. One side of the story, by the way, about their evil white, this white man that's treating me bad and I will not take it, blah, blah, blah. And then the amount of only fucking women that come jumping in like, you go, girl. Yeah. You're a boss. You know, you tell them.
You're a bad bitch.
Yeah, you don't have to take shit from anyone. It's like, okay, adorable.
Tiring.
It's fucking laughable.
And believe me, I counsel my boys on that type of relationship too. I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it. It won't end well. You'll be miserable your whole life. See, my wife's a lib, but she's a classic Democrat. She's not a crazy millennial liberal. You know what I mean? She's a Clinton Democrat. And Clinton would be a Republican today.
Yeah, he would. He absolutely would.
Yep.
No doubt about it. Well, I was looking at the gun stuff because, you know, when they talk about, I think it's irresponsible not to press someone like Kamala Harris and go, no, here's the quote you said in 2019. And that scares people that understand what the Second Amendment says, a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Correct. When you say stuff like mandatory buyback and you can't even define what an assault weapon is, that's scary to people. How do you respond? Like, at least give her that leeway that she can have that opinion. She can have that opinion about the First Amendment. Just be honest about what you want to do. And if the whole nation decides, oh, that's what we're comfortable voting for, we think that's a good thing, well, then I can't help them anymore. It's the bullshit part of it. And when they talk about assault weapons, when you look at in 2021, that's the most recent year for complete data that's available, 48,830 people died from gun-related injuries in the U.S. That's according to the CDC. That figure includes gun murders, gun suicides, along with 3 less common types of gun-related deaths. Those were accidental, those that involved law enforcement, and those whose circumstances could not be determined. In 2021, 54% of all gun-related deaths in the U.S. were suicide, 43% were murders, accidental was 549, involving law enforcement, 537. When you get down to mass shootings, which is where this always comes back to, school shootings, let's prey on the heartstrings, let's fearmonger the shit out of the population about this. This is difficult because there's no single agreed upon definition of the term mass shooting. FBI collects data on active shooter incidents, which it defines as one or more individuals actively engaged in killing or attempting to kill people in a populated area. Using the FBI's definition, 103 people, excluding the shooters, died in such incidents in 2021. The Gun Violence Archive, an online database for gun violence incidents in the U.S., defines mass shootings, incidents of 4 or more people are shot, even if no one's killed. Using this definition, 706 people died in 2021. Which types of firearms are most commonly used? In 2020, the most recent year that the FBI has published data, handguns were involved in 60%, almost 59%. Of the 13,620 U.S. gun murders and non-negligent manslaughters for which data is available, rifles, the category that sometimes includes assault weapons, were involved in 3% of firearm murders. Yeah. Shotguns were involved in 1%. So when you talk about banning or confiscating weapons of war, assault, you don't move the needle on stuff like school shootings at all. So then what's the next answer? If that's not the real problem, if that's just the boogeyman that gets talked about in every fucking media outlet in the country and scares the shit out of every parent in America, and rightly so, I get it. You've got a child that you're sending to school. You're not eyes on them at all times. You know, that's a very strong thing. But the reality is, you have almost zero chance of being involved in one of those mass shootings, as horrible as they are.
You're more likely to die in a plane crash.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, they just don't happen anymore either. But see, it's the redefinition of things that allow them to push for change like that. They're redefining it. Like, I saw some stat they put out the other day, and I haven't had a chance to fact check it, but it just didn't sound right, that the number one way kids die is now by shooting.
Yeah.
That can't be true.
If you take gang related out of it, that number goes way down.
Okay. Because I was thinking to myself, that doesn't even compute for me with childhood diseases and things of that nature.
Yeah, no, you have to include gang shootings across the nation to get that trumped up number. So handguns would be your real problem. But if you can't say you're going to confiscate handguns in this country.
Oh, they would do that after they took the
right.
Then they go, well, we just got to go further. We got to go further.
Because the problem will still exist.
Yeah.
That's my point in reading those statistics to you. It's minuscule what you're talking about in reality. So when you do something like that and you go, wow, these incidents are still happening. The numbers of gun deaths are still sky high. What's next? Well, logically you would go, okay, I guess we got to take handguns too.
Yeah.
So
and that's bad. It's just I couldn't imagine what this country would do if they tried to do that.
And I'll get to a larger point too, because I read an article from a few years ago in USA Today talking about, hey, new school season, kids are going back to school, people are worried about mass shootings. Past couple of decades have witnessed an average of one indiscriminate fatal school shooting per year. That's one out of nearly 130,000 schools nationwide. Overall, 188 fatalities have taken place since 2000. Averaging just 8 annually. That's out of more than 60 million students and staff members in America's school for a 1 in 8 million risk. A total of 112 of these victims were gunned down indiscriminately, and 74 of those were associated with 4 incidents that had double-digit death tolls. The real epidemic is fear. Perhaps a better understanding of the data will provide some needed perspective on the actual risk. Active school shooter drills aren't making our kids safe. They cause unnecessary stress and fear. Our nation's schools are safe. In fact, only 0.5% of school-age victims of gun homicide are even killed at school. Children are safer in school where they have supervision and structure than on playgrounds, ball fields, street corners. A lot of them are safer than in their own damn homes. We're spending $3 billion a year on school security, including surveillance systems, school resources. And then he goes on to make the point that, you would be much better off spending that money on counselors, keeping an eye on students, looking for signs of trouble, and intervening that way. So you're talking about a minuscule amount of people, and yet you want everybody to go nuts over this because they're horrible when they happen. Uvalde's horrible. Clarkston Lake Orion is horrible. Any of these are horrible. It's hard to give those facts without making it seem like you don't care.
Right. That's what they count on people. People, when you try to reason with them, they'll go, well, how many's too many? And I'm like, yeah, well, one's too many, but you're not going to eliminate it altogether. I'm a fatalist on this. I just feel like if evil wants to do evil, it will happen.
Yeah.
And there's really all the planning in the world probably isn't going to prevent this stuff unless there's, something changes. It's now a mainstream thing. I mean, have we ever eradicated a type of crime ever?
Never.
Where it just doesn't. It's going to happen.
How's the war on drugs doing? How's the war on poverty doing? You put them in charge, they make it tenfold worse. They always do.
Yep.
And it's like, no, I'm not just blanket willing to give these people big daddy government, please help us, save us from ourselves.
No, I'm scared.
Yeah, I'm scared. And by that logic, if you really wanted to go down that rabbit hole and go, okay, well, there's 103 kids that have been killed in the last fucking however long at school shootings. This needs to end. But, okay, so when you push it for something like abortion, which was a big topic last night, how many abortions are there in the U.S. each year? The last year for which CDC reported a yearly total of abortions was 2021. Found 625,978. That's in DC, 46 states with available data. It's been up every year since then. It's up in 2019 up to 916,460. And I bring that up because when they talk about third trimester abortions, right? That's so rare. That doesn't happen. Why are we even talking about that? Well, the vast majority of abortions occur during the first trimester of a pregnancy. In 2021, 93% of them occurred during the first trimester. That is at or before 13 weeks of gestation, according to the CDC. 6% occurred during 14 and 20 weeks of pregnancy. About 1% were performed in the third trimester at 21 weeks or more. So that's super rare. But if my math is correct, that means 9,301 third trimester abortions in this country.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about rarity, taking a life, all that kind of stuff, you're talking about 9,300. And now I'll be clear about this. I don't give a shit. I don't want any involvement in women's decisions with their doctor. But if you're playing both sides, and this is something, the school shooting thing, we need to take your Second Amendment away, essentially, is what you're saying, with an assault rifle ban.
Right.
Over minuscule numbers. Well, then that argument also floats on the other side that the third trimester rarity, just super rare, 9,300 of them.
And the rape and incest stuff is super rare too, but they always hold that up as why they need to have abortion, because what less than 1% of them. And I'm thinking, if you're raped or have incest, that could be an exception. Fine, done. Let's get this done.
Yeah,
but it's always playing into the extremes. It's always playing into the emotion. That's what I mean. That the difference between men and women is women get emotional about stuff, and that's why they vote for her, because they're emotional about guns, they're emotional about abortion. I wish they were as passionate about economic policy, energy policy, and foreign policy. Those are the things that really fucking matter.
Yeah. No, the emotion thing is hard. It's hard because you saw Kamala do it all night last night. I'm just here to protect you and look out for your children and protect you, like all this heartstringy bullshit. Yep. He's going to ban abortion and your rights between you and your doctor. Like all that shit is meant to fucking infuriate.
Appeal to women.
100%.
Yeah. And
100%.
We should have never given him the vote.
So, I know. Dude, it's so funny. I see people saying that now. The most destructive thing in this country was not it was outside of the 13th Amendment, was giving the fucking women the right to vote.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, shit.
Well, and I really do wish, though, they were as engaged in the policies that mattered. Abortion is so far down the list.
Yeah.
And so, and guns is so far down.
It barely breaches the top 10, Greg.
What's that?
It barely breaches the top 10 in importance.
Yeah, I know.
For the nation. And you would think it's the most important thing in the country. Abortion it's always been the same thing. It's always sad. It's always tragic. It's why when we were going to do a show together and call it the abortion shit show, whatever. Like
dumpster fire.
Dumpster fire abortion shit show. It's not a good thing. Like stop trying to make it like, yay me, look at me with all my like, no. It's tragic. It sucks. It's sad. It
should be rare.
Yeah.
And
the Clinton definition. The Clinton definition of abortion.
Yep. And it shouldn't be something it's not something you should fight for. It's gross.
Yeah.
I'll never understand the zeal to kill ever.
Yeah. Me either. It's sad, man. It's sad we're here. I think you're right. I don't think last night moved the needle on stuff. I really don't. I don't know how much needle moving there is right now. I feel like we always talk about this small group of people who are undecided. I'm like, well, who are these fucking morons?
Never met one.
I haven't either. I don't know anybody that when you really talk to them, don't know exactly. You can tell immediately how they're voting.
Right.
I don't know who these people are that are just like, oh yeah, I'm not paying attention to anything. Maybe it's Kamala Harris. Maybe it's Donald Trump. Like, really? I mean, they've done everything they can for 9 straight years.
Or maybe, like that was like when I saw the Taylor Swift endorsement today. I'm like, really? You don't think all those idiots were voting for her already?
Right.
Every dopey Swiftie is voting for her.
Yeah. No,
and they always were.
I did a story yesterday, and it claimed 22% of Democrat voters would vote, or Swift fans would vote for Kamala Harris if she said to, and 16% of what was it, Garrett? 16% of right-leaning people would change their vote. I'm like, There's not a fucking conservative on earth.
No.
You're telling me 16% of people that are going to vote for Donald Trump would change their vote because Taylor Swift said so? I don't believe it.
No chance in hell.
No
chance. And most white men, like young guys, don't like Taylor Swift. So they're going to have to just counteract it. Like the young men, the 18-year-old men, 19-year-old men. They don't like, my kids hate her.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with her. I think, I respect the fact that she writes her own music. I felt this way about Katy Perry when she first came out. She can play an instrument. She wrote her own shit. Now she's.
But I don't care who she votes for. I can
give
a shit.
No.
You know? Just like I don't give a shit who that dope Bruce Springsteen votes for. That guy can fuck him. I don't care who he votes for.
Yeah, I said the same thing. Here's Bruce Springsteen. He plucks a piece of wood with metal strings on it better than you, and he writes poetry a little better than you. Other than that, he's nothing. Who fucking cares what Bruce Springsteen thinks or Eddie Vedder thinks or any of these fucking people?
Yeah.
Or who?
Or jocks. I don't care who they're voting for.
No.
You just won the genetic lottery. You're a big fat dude with muscles.
Hulk Hogan, dude.
Yeah.
What's that?
It's like Hulk Hogan. It's okay, cool.
Who cares? Who cares? It's silly.
I would rather think for myself and think about life outside myself and who I vote for instead of, like this. You get on social media today and you see the people from last night who think she slaughtered Trump. And I'm like, you guys are high.
Yeah.
You realize your half still thinks she killed him. And we're going to think that no matter what. The other half thinks he won, and we're going to think that no matter what. I jokingly tweeted yesterday at noon, ABC predicts ABC has claimed victory for Kamala Harris tonight because you knew that's how it was going to be.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I tend not to, as I get older, like if I was still 30, I'd be all pissed off and worked up. And I'm like, you know what? Nothing. Last night changed nothing.
Yeah. No,
about this race. Trump's still winning.
Yeah. Well, it comes down to the bar is set so low for her, so low. Like, you don't have to be a fucking Mensa member to understand there's a reason why she's done one interview in 2 months.
Right.
Like there's a reason why that would be happening. That's a plan. That's the plan. Don't even let her out there. Don't let her open her mouth. She can only fuck this up, as Quentin Tarantino told us.
Well, you know that.
And you know that. And so the bar is so low for her last night. The fact that she didn't just word salad herself to death is a win. She won.
Well, and
she didn't collapse.
Think about how little regard they have for their own electorate. That they don't think they need to tell you anything. You're on board already. Just think about that. I don't think Trumpsters are on board automatically. I think he had to win the vote from the Republicans, but he does hundreds of interviews and hundreds of rallies.
Yeah.
She does dick, and they're still voting for her.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's sad. It really is.
Hey,
I thought it was really interesting what he said last night when he's like, this abortion ban, I'm an open book. Everybody knows it. It's like, yeah, there's a reason Howard Stern said favorite interview of all time, Donald Trump. Why?
Yep.
Because you ask him a fucking question, he'll tell you what he thinks. He's not worried about what you think of him, what you think of his delivery. What did he look at the camera properly? Did he roll up his sleeves? Did he seem sincere? No, he just tells you exactly what he's thinking.
It's pretty easy
to read. Very, very. It's why this stuff, I don't think it lands. People, it just doesn't work. I don't know. I don't think it moves the needle. I don't know. I wish I had more faith in the system for how that's going to play out. I think when they talk about existential threat, I think they mean it. I think they that tells me everything's on the table. Everything. If we have to kill this fucking guy, if we have to rig the election, whatever, that's how it feels. And so
the problem, here's the hard part, is we don't know who's pulling the strings. We don't know all the relationships. No one went into that debate last night knowing that the president of ABC is great friends with Kamala Harris. Now, that's why Megyn Kelly kept tweeting last night. They're doing exactly what their boss told them to do. Did you see that?
Yeah.
She knows how the game's played. They definitely told those guys how to handle that. And what
do you think there's any chance she wasn't fed questions in advance?
Oh, I'm sure she was. I'm sure she.
Yeah,
there's no doubt in my mind. Even if it wasn't, we know the issues. There's only 5 of them.
I was about to say, I don't think she was, but it's only because they only grilled her on the most basic of shit. They didn't have to feed her questions.
Right. And it's stuff that she could easily memorize. There were 5 or 6 questions she had to answer and keep repeating it. That's how politics works. It's not like with Reagan. It's not like with even Trump to a smaller degree. People who could get up and just discuss policy, discuss where the country could go. I mean, I went to the Reagan movie last week.
Oh, how is that?
It was amazing, and it will take you'll be sad for where we are now compared to where we used to be.
Yeah,
because that was a time when Reagan could get up, and even his opponents, Mondale and at the debates with the other Republicans, he could get up and just discuss policy off the top of his head. Like if they asked him about the Ukraine war, Reagan could have gone back and said, well, this is why it started. This is where it's going. This is why it happened. And this is how we beat it. Here's the plan. Because he laid it out how we beat the Soviet Union when he was, governor of California. He was working on it.
Yeah.
He knew. He was well-read on the issues. And we haven't had a real well-read politician on the issues probably since the second Bush or Clinton. Because I don't think Obama had a grasp either. I don't think
Trump, Bush could read.
No, I thought he was a pretty smart guy. He just sounded dope.
Yeah.
I think Trump learned it. Trump is definitely a more well-rounded candidate now than he was the first time around.
For sure.
But the first time around, I didn't think he grasped everything. Now he almost sounds like he's got a firm grasp on it.
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, the narrative is what it is, and it's not going to change no matter what it does to this country and its citizens. I will forever say your media is the enemy of the people. It just is. Like,
and we're just finding that out. Because when we were kids, I didn't know Mort Krim was a flaming liberal.
No, you wouldn't want to know.
A nutty lib.
Yeah. You didn't know where Tom Brokaw stood. You didn't know where any of those people stood, and it didn't matter. It's part of why it works is not knowing that. When David Muir is asking Trump a question last night, and Trump starts to give an answer, and he says, "Well, it didn't seem sarcastic to me."
Right?
Like, dude, that is absolutely inappropriate. No one fucking gives a shit what your opinion is, dude. That simple comment, pushing back on that, was so absurd. And people might think it's a small thing, but it's not. It's just not. They did it continuously last night, and it's sad. It's sad for this country. If Kamala Harris had policies that she and a vision for the country, I'm absolutely willing to listen to her. I'd be willing to listen.
Articulate it.
No, and you that does, like, this is the big leagues. You don't get to, have moderators pretending to not care and just be playing it down the middle and then tip scales like that.
Right.
Like, I don't give a shit what you think you heard, David Muir.
I know.
Fuck off.
It's offensive.
Yeah. That's not how this works.
Yeah. No, I agree.
I don't know what we do. You were talking about athletes and getting, great. You were genetically better than the rest of it. Fuck off.
Right.
I don't care what your vote is. This story with Tyreek Hill is getting worse. When we talked the other day, I think we were clear that, hey, maybe I'll reserve judgment in case Tyreek Hill was just the saint that we all know him to be, and these cops were just assholes to him. Are you surprised at all now that the video's out?
Not at all. I knew exactly what happened. Tyreek Hill has a brand and a track record.
Yeah.
And he's an idiot. I mean,
he's stuck with it.
Yeah, and he's stuck with it. He earned it. And to act like the victim now, and then to have the liberal sports media fall in line. Ian Rappaport, when he saw the video, said, horrifying. I'm like, what's horrifying about that video?
Yeah,
if you're a cop and a guy rolls his window up and you can't see in his car, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going on. The reason you put your window down is so they can keep an eye on your hands.
Yeah. And especially with the tinted windows.
He put that officer's safety at risk.
Yep.
Yeah.
I was reading, Matt Walsh did an article today about this. Media paints millionaire athlete as another oppressed victim of police. It's great. And he starts out talking about a few months ago, and I barely remember the story, out of Chicago, attempted to pull over a guy named Dexter Reed. Do you remember Dexter Reed?
No.
He was driving with illegally tinted windows when the media was trying to turn Reed into the next George Floyd.
Right.
At the time. Soon as the traffic stop began, Reed began acting suspiciously, refused officers' commands to lower his window. Sound familiar yet? So they could see what was going on inside the car. Then he raised the tinted window to completely obstruct the officer's view of the inside of the vehicle. Within seconds, Dexter Reed opened fire.
Yes.
Yep.
Police officers train on footage like this all the time. There are hundreds of videos like it all over the net, and they all tell the same story, which is this. When the police pull someone over and that person attempts to hide what he's doing, the situation has just become extremely dangerous. All traffic stops involve some level of risk, but when someone rolls up a tinted window instead of complying, that risk gets exponentially higher. That's especially true when the suspect has a criminal history. So police have no choice but to respond quickly and decisively and potentially with force because they're in a life-threatening situation, blah, blah, blah. And they go on. And then I watched this video. Do you have the video there, Garrett, from, this is the stuff that goes on TV now.
Yep.
Go ahead,
terrible,
Garrett.
Right, and I'm a good friend of Tyreek Hill. And I'm so mad it happened, but on the other side, I am kind of glad it did happen. You know why? Because you get to see what it feels like to be a black man in America, right?
God.
The difference is this person, this young man that's getting detained like this, is a superstar athlete. So he's going to continue to have his life. If it was somebody else, they might not have their life. They might not have had a chance to go to the Dolphins game. They might have got shot. The problem with this is the way they're handling him, you'd have thought he robbed a bank, he did a murder, he did attempted murder, he did something. For a speeding ticket, you get all this.
No, for non-compliance.
This is crazy. And we want the police to protect and serve. Is that like protecting? Is that like serving? No. You see this stink. If he wasn't Tyreek Hill, it could have gotten way more serious.
The most frustrating thing about it is we do not feel safe around cops, and that's crazy.
When you say we, break that down.
Black people does not feel safe around cops, and that is what really strikes a chord to me because we don't want to call them. We don't want to be in certain situations with them. I talk to my kids. You know what I tell them, man? If you ever get into any situation, man, you with your friends or whatever, get to some light. Get around some people, right? If it's some cops around. That's how I'm talking to my.
That's the wrong message,
around
sir.
where you're supposed to be safe and they're supposed to protect you. Make sure you're around some people. Get into some light and all that, so people could see what's going on.
Walk
if they
away
want
from
to
cops. Call your friends over.
My main thing with this
Look at
whole
the white
video
guy
is
there.
why are you so
Quiet.
angry? Why are you so angry? The man rolled his window down and gave you his driver's license.
Yeah, that's all he did.
Why are you so angry and so hostile to do this to Tyreek Hill? It's crazy to me. Being a father, it's tough to watch because I'm a father of two black boys, and I can only imagine. And I got to prepare them for all this and all that. And these dudes are supposed to be keeping us safe. It's just crazy.
Oftentimes, far too often, we see this.
Okay, that's good enough. He's going to go give his spiel.
Got you. Here's the thing. These guys know the grievance industry pays.
Yeah.
And so they're going to keep pushing this because it provides jobs. Jamel Hill knows that better than anybody.
Oh, she's the worst of all of them.
You got it. The more grievance, the more work. That's all there is to it. It's ridiculous.
Do they care?
And then they conveniently ignore the fact that the guy said 3 or 4 times, put your window down. Put your window down. It's a safety issue. And if you're not putting the window down, it makes me wonder what you're doing in there. Are you loading a gun? Are you getting ready to shoot me? Of course they have to get him out of the car.
Of course.
It's literally get him out of the car and get his hands behind his back so you know he's not going to do anything.
Right.
That's all they did.
I would make the case that he got athlete privilege there. He should have never been playing football at 1 o'clock. He should have been in jail.
Yeah. I totally agree. Totally agree. And by the way, to have this message going across your media landscape that somehow Tyreek is just some poor victim, and thank God it was Tyreek Hill. Otherwise, this could have been way worse because we all know cops just go around shooting young black men. Right. And if it was just a race thing, don't you think cops would be shooting old, elderly black men and women? Or no, why is it one specific group of people that all has the same fucking attitude that, how dare you, bro? How dare you, bro? Don't touch my window, bro. What? Don't touch I'm tan, dog. I'm tan, dog.
Yeah.
It's the same shitty attitude. Huh?
that what he was saying? I'm
Yeah.
10.
That's what he was saying in one of the other videos. I'm 10, dog. I'm 10, dog, for the Dolphins, dog. Like, yeah. Like, this is, and the reckless part about this, like, if you want to have that belief, it's the problem of amplifying that message nationally. It wasn't that long ago, Greg, you and I would both remember that it was only a few years ago that it would be common across the media landscape for people to go, hey, guys, this is a learning experience. Here's where Tyreek was wrong.
Right.
Now, if you want to get into the tiny minutia, go, well, did the cop come in hot with his hand there to yank him out? Oh, okay, maybe. Is that proper de-escalation? I don't know. Maybe you could have been nicer about it. But the fact is, those cops have no fucking idea what's behind that black tinted window.
Exactly. Not only that is I want to know why these Hispanic guys are doing this. Those were Hispanic cops.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So you can't even say it was a couple of white guys.
No.
They want to, and they're omitting the fact that they're not white. Because if they were white, they'd say, see what these white cops are doing, but they can't say that.
No, they're just saying
can't
cops.
say it.
Just cops.
Right.
The guys are speaking,
but they want to say white cops.
Yeah. Oh, that's the dream narrative, is to just, because nobody's going to say anything. And you see that guilty ass fucking white athlete sitting there, and he's going to ask some question like, what do you tell your children? Oh, I don't know. He should say to his children the same thing my dad said to me. And all normal fucking caring parents would say to their kids. How about you have a little respect for authority, whether that's your teachers or the police, and understand that people are going to treat you with the level of respect you treat them. And if you come in acting like an asshole and acting sketchy, you might get yourself in trouble.
Comply now, fight it in court.
Yep,
yeah,
that's what I said.
Yeah, and the fact of the matter is, Greg, and you know it to be true, if Tyreek Hill rolled down his window and went, yo, man, you got me. I was speeding a little bit. Sorry, it's me, Tyreek. I'm on my way to Hard Rock.
I'm late.
Those guys probably would have taken pictures and asked for an autograph and sent him on his fucking way.
They would have given him a police escort. Who are you kidding?
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
You know what I mean? No. I've had that happen. You know, I've been pulled over and they'll say, oh, I listened to you on DFN. And I'm like, I appreciate it. You know, I didn't ever say, you know,
you know who I am?
I never get out of tickets, ever.
You don't?
I get them every time.
No, I never get them. I get out of them all the time. You know why? Because I'm fucking sweet as can be to them. I thank them for their service. I thank them for the fucking job they do, even when they give me a ticket.
Yeah.
I thank them.
I've never had a problem with a cop, and there were a couple times where I was annoyed, like going through Ohio, where they're just looking for your license plate.
Yeah.
You know, but the message should be just deal with it now, and handle it in court. Do what you got to do now. It's not argue, then have your buddies pull up and try to help. That only makes the situation worse.
Way worse.
Because now the cops are like, what's going on? Are we being attacked?
Yeah. You know? Now we have a situation we're not in complete control of.
Right.
Now, like it's so obvious and it's so reckless to me to plaster this message out to youths across this country that we're not even going to even fucking hint that maybe Tyreek had a little bit of a role in how this went down. No, it sends the message that I ain't got to be bothered with this. Why are you fucking with me? Because I'm black. Like, that's the message you're sending to people. How do you think young people are going to react when they get pulled over? They're going to remember how Tyreek acted, and they're going to remember that he was praised for it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like it's
and now today he came out and said he wanted the cop fired.
Yeah. And here's one of the worst parts I keep hearing about this is that everyone says the cop was being too aggressive, too loud, too angry. Cops will tell you, and this is the first thing I learned when I was in criminal justice training, is that the cops' number one weapon they use is their voice. They want to intimidate and scare you so that you don't try shit.
Why'd you get thrown out of the
I didn't get thrown out of the police. I actually switched to the military because I didn't want to be a cop.
He
broke his wrist doing a salute. He was saluting the police chief and his wrist fell off.
It's a reoccurring problem.
It is.
Damn limp wrist.
Too hard.
Dude, it's just so sad. And you would think if you, like, not one person on that panel, not one has the courage and the fucking balls to go, hey, guys, I saw what you saw there, too. And I got to be honest with you. It seems like Tyreek didn't help himself there.
Everyone's running scared. Here's why. It's the same thing that happened when Shannon Sharp left Skip's show. Skip said something and challenged him on something about race, and he didn't like it. And so he ran to his bosses and said Skip's racist, and then he quit.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know this story. I stopped watching them years ago. What is this story? Do you remember more details about
it? Skip tweeted something. It was during a live event one night. And he tweeted something contrary to the racial narrative that was going on. You can probably Google. Yeah. And he tweeted and he got universal condemnation for it. Yeah. And then Shannon got on the next day and he was faking tears, dude. I kid you not, faking tears about how Skip hurt him and this and that. I'm trying to think. It was one of these racial issues we were having this past year.
Yeah. Remember the story? Who's the fucking analyst? The ESPN guy that covers the NFL, Adam Schefter.
Yeah.
Remember when Schefter, when the absolute garbage quarterback drafted by the Raiders went to the Reds, Dwayne Haskins was hit by a fucking garbage truck at 2 a.m, hammered in Florida. And he tweeted out like, tragic news, guy hit by a dump truck after lackluster NFL career and, history of issues. And people killed him on social media. How dare you bring up his past? How dare you bring up his career not going? That dude learned right then, and he has been fully on board. That's the message. You can't critique. You can't take any of these black athletes and question anything they say. You can't question. You wouldn't dare question Tyreek Hill's narrative, no matter how full of shit it is, no matter that it's on video and it's total garbage. And he should be punished by the league, not have the Dolphins DEI department come out and issue some garbage statement trashing the fucking police. And that's it. They should be apologizing for their players' behavior, saying we'll work with them behind the scenes to make sure something like this doesn't happen again. Thank you guys for your service. Should have been the message from the Dolphins media department.
Right.
But they know better. They know they can't. And it's gotten so bad that you got this guilty white asshole sitting on set, like begging for oh my God, what did you tell your son? How did that conversation go? Yeah, you mean the one where you where you're raising a child properly and tell him to fucking act like a respectable human being and show some people respect that they deserve too, that you have a role in society as well. You mean that message that isn't exclusive to black fathers, by the way.
Right.
All fucking fathers should be I'm sure you had talks with your kid about how to treat a woman, how to treat people of authority.
I told him, keep her in line. No, of course. You have to have those conversations with them. And I think my message always was to them about cops was you do whatever they say. We'll deal with it. Hold on, I'm grabbing something. I said, we'll deal with it later. You do whatever they tell you to do because they own your ass at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't think these people want to see where society goes if you break down all the structures that have been put in place for millennia. Like if you
they want that. But you got to tear it down to build it up, communist brother.
But it doesn't seem like they have a final plan. Like this way will be way better.
Any way that reduces the influence of, I think, men personally.
Yeah.
That's what they're pushing, and in particular, a certain type of man.
And see, I think they personally have a plan. They just don't want to tell us because they know if they were forward with it, nobody would be on board.
Probably.
But if they implement it small over time, eventually we're not going to know we're in the plan.
Well, if you think back to the late 80s when Limbaugh first came on the scene. And this is sports, politics, whatever. He would make fun of everything that is now becoming mainstream. The transgender movement, the gay movement, which is now not just a movement. It's like everyone, is out there pushing an agenda for that instead of just natural about it. And the BLM movement. He predicted all that 30 years ago. So the wild stuff they're saying now, like AOC, that's going to be eventually mainstream. It always
is. Just insane.
It is.
It's so insane. Yeah, I think, I've given Garrett shit, because I think the gay community, I don't think they all buy into this push.
I know gays.
Yeah. You know one sitting right here next to you. Yeah. Garrett is one that's like, yeah, this is garbage. These people don't speak for me. And I loved it when it trended real quick. LGB without the T. They got trending like these fucking wackadoodles don't speak for all of us. They just don't.
And not just that. I mean, I know Marina, transgendered, hates the trans community.
Yeah.
Because it's become more of a movement than really, it's always, they want equality until they don't. And then they want the next level where they get special privilege. My buddy as well. He's a gay guy. He's in politics. And his whole point always was, I'm gay. I'm not crazy like the trans crowd. That's how he would describe them.
Yeah.
It's mental illness. They don't want to be involved with the majority of the trans crowd because they think problems mentally there.
Yeah.
Well, if you treat people just as individuals based on their behavior, God forbid, the content of character, like there's a real problem in Hollywood, in my opinion, because there's a lot of gay guys like Garrett. You wouldn't know by looking at him. You wouldn't know by talking at him. So how do you get those people on TV and in movies? You have to flamboyant them up and queen them out to the max in order to show how inclusive you are. The Garrett gay isn't welcome in their world. He's just not.
Great.
And we had a transgender on our show back in the early 2000s named Penny. And Penny was, gay is who I sleep with, not who I am. You know, like that's not who I am. It's my sexual preference. It's one very small part of me.
Exactly.
But you know how it is though. The white female liberal is the most racist, homophobic person you ever find.
Oh yeah.
I've thought about having this discussion. I haven't figured out a way to fully articulate what my thoughts are, but it is becoming crystal clear to me. The more liberal that the person is, the more insanely racist shit comes out of their mouth.
Oh, big time.
Like, I don't want to give big examples or out people, but when you're talking to them, when it's not on a video where they can virtue signal how awesome they are, some of the shit, I am like, God damn, dog. I don't know that I would have said that out loud. Holy shit.
Let me give you a great example. One day I'm in the car with a liberal woman and someone who is just, so bleeding heart.
Yeah.
And this is not my wife.
Okay, good.
This black woman was pulled up next to me and was yelling at me. And I'm like, what do you want?
Yeah.
And she threw a cup at my car. And I took off like, I'm going to get her.
Yeah.
The woman next to me goes, don't go after them. They could have a gun.
But dude, she doesn't even see the irony in that.
No.
Doesn't even see the irony in that. It was so funny, dude.
I said, if that were a white woman, would you think a gun?
No, I've had similar things with the gay thing where this has happened to an ex-boyfriend of mine. He worked at a grocery store at the time, and some lady said something snide or whatever because he had painted nails, and she's like, I want to let my son do that or whatever. He was fine with it. He doesn't give a fuck. He's just like, yeah, okay, whatever. Have a good day. And the cashier, white liberal woman, had to stop the customer, bring them back, make them formally apologize, and cause a whole fucking scene for the store.
Yeah.
To show how great she was that she was taking it for the gay person.
Yeah.
The gay guy who, by the way, was like, please, everyone, just leave me alone. I don't care.
Yeah. Why don't you just tell everyone I'm gay?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't need you to come to my defense. And I've known plenty of gay guys over the years and lesbian women. They don't need your help, lady. No. They don't need you speaking up for them. They don't. It's just so gross. It's so gross. I don't know. I tell the story about my buddy, Derek. He's a good dude, but he's super fucking libtard. And his wife's a super libtard. And they don't even see how funny it all is. And she was so mad about Trump winning the election in 2016 that she had to go be part of the pussy march.
Yeah.
I am woman, hear me roar, and the fucking pink hats. And so she's going off to DC to do her part. And it's so funny. He goes, hey, hon, just make sure you're home on early afternoon Sunday because you got to do my laundry. I don't have anything to wear on Monday. And she was like, oh, yeah, no, I'll be home. Don't worry about it. I'll be home early Sunday. Yeah. And I could take care of that. It was just like, oh, these fucking people are hilarious. They're just hilarious.
I have a lot of limousine liberal friends, like one of them who does really well. He's a smart guy, but suddenly he's this Kamala lib. And I always tell him, you drive your Tesla down there and you just look at these people and go, oh, you poor people. But you don't do a thing to help.
Yeah.
Not a thing. Put your money where your mouth is, and he has it. He's a childless cat man.
Yeah. It's sad, dude. It's sad. Why don't we do you got a couple minutes? Do you want to talk about Dave Grohl real quick?
Real quick. I got to get moving, but yeah.
Yeah, it looks like you're going somewhere. We can wrap it up there.
Well, no, I get Oyster's waiting.
Yeah. An oyster. I know. Cece's waiting down here. I got to take her out. She farted while we were sitting here, and it stunk to heaven. I don't know what I gave her, but
something on deck.
Jesus Christ.
We can do more shows, dude.
I know. I like doing it. I do. Garrett and I'll do.
Next time I'll set up a little basement in the office so I can use my laptop.
Yeah. You want to do Monday and talk about whatever the Lions do?
Yeah, I do. Let's do that.
Okay, let's do that.
And Dave Grohl's funny, by the way. I'm surprised he managed to impregnate that woman with all the soy in his body.
It's so funny because Dave Grohl is known as like the nicest guy in the world.
Yep.
And he has to come out and what do you know? He banged some random chick, busted a nut in her, knocked her up, and now he's got another kid with her.
It's the first time he was an actual rock star.
Here's the best part, though. We talked about this morning. I told Michelle. He's like, he's the nicest guy. I love him. And I'm like, let me just give you one piece of advice.
Yeah.
You never know what's going on behind closed doors.
Nope.
Ask fucking OJ.
Yeah.
Everyone loved OJ till he allegedly lopped his wife's head off.
Right. And then imagine if that OJ thing happened today, how bad that would be. Because they were able to push that. Oh, he's just a poor black man who can't get mistreated by the system. It's like OJ was the whitest black guy in the fucking history of the world.
He ran from the black community, man.
Oh my God!
Here's the best part, though. They would have blamed Nicole. Well, she slept around on him.
They sort of did blame Nicole.
I know.
I mean, ridiculous. Dave Grohl, I love this. I plan to be a loving, supportive parent to her. I love my wife and my children. I'm doing everything I can to regain their trust and earn their forgiveness. Is that even possible, honestly?
Here's what happened. She said, put that on Instagram. Why would you come out with that unless she told him, put that on Instagram or I'm gone and I'm taking half? And you know she's going anyway.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's hard because you're Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. That dude's worth hundreds of millions of dollars from his Nirvana catalog and Foo Fighters. Is the wallet big enough to save whatever relationship this is? Or is that like, I don't think there's anyone in America that can go, I fucked some lady down the street. Now we're having a kid. But my wife and I are working through this.
How old is the lady?
There's no chance of working through this, right?
No, she's definitely leaving.
Yeah.
But she wanted to embarrass him before she went. Why would he announce that? Why would you come public with that? It does nobody's business.
Yeah, but probably because the National Enquirer or one of them said, by the way, we're running with this story tomorrow.
Yeah.
But
maybe you know what I'd say? Go ahead. I'm not no comment. Just like Kamala, just hide in the basement for a couple weeks. It'll blow over.
Yeah. Crazy.
It is.
All right, go walk, boys.
I'm glad this happened to him because he's the one who was mad at Trump for using Hero at his rally. Fuck that guy.
Dude, these fucking people that come out and act like they don't understand
Jack
the laws.
White too, that
it's just a way to come out and virtue signal that I hate this guy.
Yeah, whatever.
That's all that means. Like,
I don't care.
Those catalogs and the rights to them. It's why radio station. Imagine if every artist who listened to guys like us at a radio station and didn't like our political view and said, I demand you stop playing my catalog. Imagine what that would look like in America if you took every conservative opinion off the dial for fear of losing the music you play. Like, it just doesn't. They don't have those rights. They don't own those catalogs. There are laws in place that, you know, venues are allowed to play that stuff. They pay for licenses.
They pay rights. Yes.
You know, and honestly, I don't even know how this works, but Trump walks out to something. He's got every right to play it there. Take it up with fucking CNN for broadcasting it. If you got a real problem. Well, CNN's the one broadcasting that without your permission.
Yep. And even in a venue, you have to pay the music rights. They're already paid, you know?
Yeah.
And that's why when you see like Neil Young silently and quietly went back on Spotify.
Of course.
Yep.
Of course.
Yeah. All right, tough guy. Put your money where your mouth is, right?
Yeah. Over global warming. And then I go, aren't you the fucking asshole that flies private all over the world and encourages 50,000 people to all not carpool to venues to watch you play? And I see your 18-wheelers parked outside, lugging your bullshit equipment everywhere you go. Who's polluting the fucking environment more? You, or is it maybe Neil Young? Is it Taylor Swift flying private all over the fucking globe
to go to the Super Bowl?
Yeah, to go to the Super Bowl for an hour and then get on another private jet, fly back to Europe as fucking not Timberlake, but Leo DiCaprio does all the time. Like,
it's all do as I say, not as I do.
Yes. It's gross. It's gross. You people pack diesel guzzlers by the 18-wheeler all over the country so you can go on your little fucking tour. And it's just hilarious. And then you're going to bitch at me about plastic straws. Go fuck yourself. Fuck yourself.
Me, a childless guy.
Yeah, me, someone with no kids, didn't fucking load up the environment with diapers. I've never flown private in my life. No, you don't get to fucking talk down to us. Stop it. All right, we'll kill it there, Greg. Let's plan on Monday.
All right.
And we'll touch on the Lions. Hopefully, who do they got? Tampa Bay this weekend?
Yes, they do.
Yeah. What do you think?
They should beat Tampa. I mean, Baker Mayfield's fun to watch, but ultimately not a great quarterback.
Yeah. I think, is that in Detroit too?
Yeah.
And then I think they're coming to Arizona next weekend.
Hell yeah, you'll be there representing.
No, I'm not going to go. But if I was going to go to one game this year, I would go to that one.
You're an 80-year-old man.
Yeah, I know. Exactly. Dude, I'm just looking out for the environment. I don't want to drive to the stadium. And
hey, let me see Cece. Bring that baby girl up.
I was going to say also, we also just talked about like how annoying it is to try and get into any football game anymore.
I know. It's a bitch. I'd rather watch it at home.
Yeah.
Cece girl.
Yeah.
Oh.
She can't hear you because I have headphones on. Yeah. And I'm just pointing the camera down there because she's crashed.
Does she hate that weather down there?
No. Oh, she got her eyes open. You know what? When it's really, really hot, it's starting to cool down a little bit, so she's okay.
Oyster hates
There she goes. There she is.
Oh, what a doll.
Yeah, she's the fucking best, dude. All right, go take Oyster. And Garrett, we'll do a member show tomorrow. So,
all right, sounds good.
All right, guys.
All right, buddy. Thanks, Greg.